we're ready to go. We are so ready to go. So let me go make sure let everybody know that we're broadcasting live on Facebook, also on Twitch. So if you come to Twitch, go to WSN Radio and scroll down a little bit, and you'll see us on Twitch. Let me see. I got one more thing to do. And there we go. All right. We have the lovely, talented, I seen somebody taking a picture there.
My husband.
Let me cut up your bio.
My husband. He back here trying to get it right.
Okay.
He's truly my assistant, my business partner, my cameraman, security. He's everything.
Oh, wow. Well, here's Stephanie Williams. I call her the tax expert. For those that didn't know, we was gonna have her on the show earlier, but something happened. But we made sure we got her back, because off camera we were talking about the tax situation, on how it changed, on how everybody was used to getting a great big lump sum of money, and now it's not coming anymore. They're getting upset. Why getting upset? Ooh. It only lasts for a couple of years, not lifetime.
Right.
So we just jumped right into that, because I've been talking about that. So Stephanie, you want to explain to everybody the Reader Digest version on what happened to the tax incentive that was in place for a few years?
Absolutely. So for 2020 and 2021 tax year, because of the American Rescue Act due to COVID, there were credits that were given that were never given before. Meaning for childcare, it was up to $8,000. For a child, it was $3,600. Sometimes more than that. I don't have the exact number here. However, we are back to pre-COVID, and a lot of people had babies during COVID, so they don't know what the numbers look like without the fluff that COVID helped us out with. And this year, the same people that I got $12,000 for last year, those very same people got $4,000, and was like, whoa, what happened here? I paid all this. And I'm like, hey, like, you can't expect to get the same assistance. You know what I mean? Like, food stamps don't last forever. Medicaid doesn't last forever. All of those things are in place as a tool. And I think a lot of times, everyone, we get comfortable, and we think that we're entitled to certain things, and you're just not. You can't. The government is not going to just give you money for existing. Like, that's not how it works. You have to work in order to get money. And if you're not making enough, you need to find an additional source of income. Like, you're not going to, there's not a money tree out here. I wish there was, because I would be out there and growing a few in my backyard if there was a money tree. But unfortunately, there's no money tree to shake from, so we got to work hard. And I think this tax year specifically, it affected a lot of people. They weren't expecting. Those who didn't owe now owe. In 2020, before Trump left office, he enacted a bill where you would get more on your paycheck, but on your tax return, you really wouldn't see anything. So you're not paying taxes. You can't make $40,000 a year and pay $1 in taxes and want $4,000 back from the federal government. Like, that doesn't. A tax refund is tax that has been overpaid. If you didn't pay any taxes, you can't expect to get that back. And I think I want to make that clear, like, for all of the listeners today. It's not even your preparer's fault. It's not TurboTax. It's not Tax Act. It's not your accountant. It is so, and a lot of times you get the brunt of it. Well, I don't understand. How come? Because I was able to get this before, and it's not the case anymore. And we have to let go of what happened before, because it's gone. And it's probably never coming back.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question. That entitlement, that's what they called it, entitlement. they went out to people who didn't work, but they was able to file to get that money too. So,
Mhm.
which they really never filed before. I don't have a job, I shall file. Well, now that it's
Yeah.
over with, should they file now since they got money back for those 2 years? Should they file? I have an income of zero, and
No.
they shouldn't
There,
file now.
you don't have to. So they were filing in order to get the incentives, like the EIP, if you weren't able to get the stimulus checks. So a lot of times it's like, hey, go ahead and file a um there's no income basically on this tax return. So it's in tax return, but it's not necessarily the normal 1040 that we would complete for our tax purposes. This is more or less just for to receive the stimulus payment because you didn't get it in the mail or direct deposit like the rest of the world. So if you have zero income, there's no reason you should be filing a tax return.
Okay.
You didn't, there's no nothing to tax if there's nothing there. Now, if you have a business, then of course you should be filing a tax return at that point. But if you don't have an income, then you shouldn't file a tax return. And I think that's the other part. Even like inmates were getting tax stimulus checks. So literally anybody, everybody was filing a tax return last year or the year before. And you could file one in order to get those funds back. You weren't getting anything extra other than the stimulus. There wasn't an earned income credit or child tax credit associated with that because the stimulus was not considered taxable income.
Okay.
So there's no credit to go against it because it's just where here's some money to assist you with what, how we were all affected during the pandemic.
Right. Which brings this point about business. Um, I had started a business. Well, I went into my first studio in March of that year when the pandemic hit.
Mhm.
And after it hit by June, I had to move out because couldn't get nobody to come in and see anybody. You're not breathing on me.
Right.
It was like that. But then they had all the qualifications for it, and I went in, did all the paperwork for all that, but they wanted to see my taxes for the previous years. But if you just start a new business, you have no taxes for the previous year.
Correct.
So a lot of people lost out on everything, their life savings and everything. I was fortunate to come back to the house and set up everything here and continue to do my radio station. But one point, a couple points I'm gonna make is you had big corporations who had lawyers all ready to pounce on that money. And what they did, Wendy's is a chain, but it's a franchise chain. Everybody got by
Mhm.
franchise getting it. That's how they got over on it. With 15 or less employees in each Wendy's store, they were able to get that money for a big corporation like that.
Yep.
And then there were some people who turned around and said they had this, had this, had this. So when it came time to put up, they didn't have it. So a lot of them swindled the government to get the money, and now they're in deep trouble right now for doing that.
Right. And
So
what happens, I think with COVID too, it taught a lot of our small business owners, you need to start documenting. You need to start Cash App, Zelle, cash payments. Those are a thing of the past. We have to take accountability for ourselves and say, do I have my stuff together? I'm applying for, I want the bank to give me $30,000, but all I got is my Cash App statement. Personally, to me, I don't have an EIN number. My business is not structured properly. I don't know what a check and balance system is. There is no profit and loss report because to get the money wasn't really that hard. They just wanted to know, do you have proof to show that you took a loss? And no one had the proof. A lot of people who go into business do not know business. So they jump into business and they have this dream, they have this passion. I want to jump in and I want to do this. However, they don't know the administrative side of it, nor do they want to hire anyone. YouTube helps, TikTok helps. However, when it comes down to your livelihood, you need to hire a professional, get educated, pay your consultation, ask all the questions you want during that call so you're able to execute. But I don't think the the rules associated with the all the grants and the loans that were given, I don't think that they were written wrong at all. I wouldn't feel comfortable giving anyone a loan if I don't know what you got going on. Like, I can't guarantee that money's going to come back. So now the government is having an issue because there's trillions of dollars that aren't coming back because all of these illegitimate businesses applied for these loans, applied for these grants. And yes, the smaller businesses suffered, but the smaller businesses have to blame themselves for not having their paperwork together. If your paperwork was right, you were getting approved. There was no hard process. It was a very seamless, simple process. I processed several applications for others. So I know the process isn't that hard. But I also had clients come to me like, I made a lot of money, but you can't prove it. I cannot prove cash, and I'm not going to sign my name behind any cash. I cannot
Yeah.
prove that you paid yourself because you're just swiping your card everywhere. You have to say, okay, my business made 5,000 and I'm going to pay myself 3,000 out of that. And that's the money that I spent. You have to show payroll. No one was doing that. So they in turn didn't qualify. And is that the government's fault? Not really. Because you can't go to the bank. You cannot go get a mortgage just because you have a high credit score. You have to have the income and the credit score. You can't go to the bank with 300K in your account for $1 million loan without the proper credit score.
Right.
So we as individuals have to educate ourselves, like I said, is and tax money is just that. It's not for you to get. This is not your bread and butter. Like, even then, like, the most I've seen in the tax return in my industry is maybe like 15,000. But this lady also had 5 kids. So 15,000, what can you really do with that when you think about it? You're going to get your 15,000. You probably have a lot of debt already. So after you take care of some of the debt you owe, then you're left with maybe a few extra grand. You may want to treat yourself. The money goes by quick.
Yeah.
Just as quick as it comes in. If you don't know how to earn and maintain that money's going to always slip through your fingers. So financial literacy has to happen too, right? In our community. Like, there's so many different steps to it that we just got to do better.
Yeah. Okay. Now, somebody just had a question. What if a person didn't file in 2020?
Well, they just got to file now. So the government does give you up to 3 years to file past due returns without penalty. So you just have to file.
Okay.
Yeah, you just have to file.
One question, what does it mean to file married head of household?
There's no such thing as married head of household. So you can file head of household if you're married but you're separated. So if you're married in the last 6 months of the year, you and your husband, you guys are actually not together, but you have a child in the home with you, at that point you can do head of household. However, if you guys are living in the same home, living fine, and everything is fine and dandy, but let's just say your husband has a tax obligation and filing together is not to your benefit. So you're saying, hey, I want to file separately and claim my child, but there is no head of household and married together. No.
So let's say a child is equally divided, 6 months at his house, 6 months at her house. Can they both claim that child?
They can with written paperwork. So the best thing in those scenarios is we alternate years. So one year I have the child, the next year you have the child. One year I have the child, the next year you have the child. And as long as you have a paperwork to show that, then it's perfectly fine.
Okay. Here's another question. Married, filing, single.
There is no married filing single.
Is it
You have married filing separately, you have married filing jointly, and
oh,
then you have single as a filing status.
right? Then head of household is always on there too, right?
Correct. And then you have qualified widower. Oh no, surviving spouse, which is in the event because filing jointly, there are a lot of tax incentives there. So let's just say a spouse passes away within the year, you have up to, it might be three, but I'm gonna say two to be you have up to 2 years to file jointly, even though your spouse has passed away. So that's the surviving spouse status.
Okay. So a spouse passes away and they're getting their retirement coming in. And most are set up for the spouse to start getting their retirement
Mm.
coming in. So is that they need to report that income too at the end of the year?
Retirement's not taxable income.
Okay. All right. Just that's a question that's coming in. These people
Yeah,
ask.
no, that's not taxable income. So when even if you were in the military, you'll get like I don't, they don't call it a stipend, but they get a payment once you retire from the military, like monthly. That's not taxable income.
Okay.
Like social security is not taxable income. Anything from the government is not really taxable.
Okay. Here's another question. These people, I don't know what's wrong with them about questions today. You must be popular.
No, no, but that's good. That's good because that's what I'm talking about. Let's educate ourselves.
Yeah.
Let's stop following Google and YouTube. Let's ask the expert. That's what we need to do.
Here it is. What if your spouse is disabled and doesn't file? Can they claim them?
Yes.
That was a straight answer.
Mhm. Yes.
Okay. Boy, I never seen questions coming in like this so fast. But
Yes.
that's good. That's good because I was saying, I said it's tax season. You need to listen to the show at 9 a.m. We got our expert on, and she's gonna break it down for you. Speaking about that, so I remember last time we talked, you were planning on getting a place to set up and have people in to help people with taxes. Are you still doing that?
So yes, I actually hired 8 people this tax season. Like Ron, when I tell you, like Texas has been so good to me. God has been so good to me. I am so blessed. Like, anyway, so yes, I've hired I have 4 um agents in San Antonio. I have one in Austin. I have one in Myrtle Beach. I have one in Hollywood, Florida. I have one in New York. I have one in Chicago.
You just spread
And
wings, aren't you?
when I tell PMG, y'all gonna remember this. Like, I'm gonna go back 10 years from now. I'm going to be inside of Walmart. I will be instead of Jackson and Hewitt, they can move to the side. We're gonna be the ones inside of Walmart. We're gonna be the ones on the side of the road with the squiggly man. Where we are growing and we will continue to grow. And ultimately what I want is to have franchise offices and just provide in my community and my people with a chance. Like, this is, you can make a lot of money during tax season, but at the same time, the benefits for yourself are endless, you know? So you educating yourself, knowing what you know in this business, and just meeting different people in the industry is admirable. So we're growing and we're going to continue to grow. Right now, we do not have I don't have everybody in one area. They all independently work under me, but we are forward moving and working and moving and shaking.
And this is good to have you on because this is on Women History Month.
Yes.
And
Oh, and actually, my whole team, other than my husband, he's the owner, but my whole team is women. Oh,
hey,
I have an office in Atlanta, Georgia. Yes,
you
yes,
know,
yes. I have
ATL.
a,
Shout out to ATL. I know.
yes, I got an office in
Yeah.
Atlanta.
All right. So, with you expanding like this, are there any how can I put it? You're having your growth spurts right now. Like
hmm
every year, it's different changes. So how do you know, or when do you know when any new tax changes are coming that we're not trivia to right away?
I I literally am on I'm on the IRS website looking at the updates. Maybe it's like 3, 4 times a day, every day. Tax season or not. Like I'm constantly educating myself. So when a new law comes out, I typically know right away. And what's awesome is the tax software that I use, whenever they find out new tax laws, they update us,
Okay.
their owners. So there's webinars all the time. These are like I actually love what I do. And so learning about it doesn't really, some people read newspapers, I read tax laws. Some people play with, I don't know, solitaire on their phone. I'm looking up the next tax break. Like those are the things that I read all the time because again, yes, I am a tax professional, but I also own multiple other companies and I'm responsible for multiple companies. So knowing the tax laws is important in that aspect. Not only just this part of the business. This is small in comparison to everything else that I have going on.
Okay. Question. What's the difference between a W-2 and a 1099?
1099, you're a contractor. W-2, you have taxes come out. So you have federal, Social Security, and Medicare coming out of your W-2 um paycheck. But as a contractor, you're getting all of your money up front. And again, so being and with a contractor, the benefit is you can write off expenses. So as a W-2 you employee, there are the rules are very clear on what you can and what you cannot do. Writing off, other than like an educator, nurses, there's a few little industries that will allow you to write off very small amounts. But as a 1099, you're essentially a business owner. You're governing over yourself. You're able to write off, let's just say mileage to and from, wherever, whatever you do, internet expenses, gas, travel, advertising, office supplies, the list goes on and on. And that helps you with those tax breaks.
Now, with a 1099, is it safe to say what you get paid out that you should put 15% to the side? So when tax season come around, you'll have that money if you owe any taxes.
Absolutely. So you have the ability. So I tell my clients, especially my business owners, because a lot of times you think you're not going to make the money and something happens, right? And now you're stuck. So that happened to us our first year in business. Well, my husband's remodeling company. He came in and we're like, oh, we're making money. Like I'm not about to. The first couple of months it was slow, and by June we picked up and we picked up and we picked up and we did not set the money to the side. So now at the end of the year we ended up owing like 7K, and I say that to say that 10-15% in every month, every payment. I don't care if it's $100 or $100,000. You take 10%, you put it to the side until the end of the year. In the deposit only account. Now, at the end of the year, maybe you won't owe that much. At least that's your tax refund. But to now we're at the end of the year, you have nothing saved. So you have property taxes that are due. You have your mortgage that is due. You have all the other regular expenses that are due, in addition to tax debt. Tax debt that if you ignore, they will come after your assets. They will put a lien on your home. They will garnish your wages. They will levy your bank account. So why go through that when all we had to do was, let me just take this money out and deposit it. You have to look at it as if it's not there. That's why being a business owner, you have to be responsible. Like all of it doesn't belong to you. Like if I get paid 500 for a return, 10% of that I put to the side. Every return. At the end of the year, if I have a little extra, wonderful. But if I don't, I won't be hit as hard. I won't owe, instead of owing 10,000, I might owe only 5 because I got 5 in my bank account.
Yeah. Okay. You're talking about business coming after you. So what is the advantage if you have your business at LLC? Will the IRS only come after the LLC, or they come after your personal stuff?
The IRS, anybody will come directly after the LLC if you have an LLC. So, I'll give you an example. I have a client who does hair. She Now she's an LLC, but before that, she was just doing hair as a sole proprietor under her social. Something happened with like chemicals or doing color, and this young lady ended up suing her. So they were able to come directly after her. So the judgment is on her name versus the LLC. If they would go after the LLC, she doesn't have to worry about a judgment on her credit report. It would be on the LLC. And in the event things don't work out with that LLC, you can basically dissolve it and start fresh. You won't have the history, of course, but you can start fresh. That's literally what multi-million dollar investors do, multi-million dollar moguls do. When you hear, oh man, Dr. Dre just went bankrupt. That man, you think that man is hurting right now? No, no, no.
No.
No, no, no. It's the game. It's all a very legal game. You need to know how to play it properly in order to monopolize and succeed. We're just learning this, but our counterparts have known this forever. This is why they're kids, 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 kids. This is why Bill Gates could be a dropout and be a multi-billion dollar, you
Yeah.
know? You know what I mean? So it's things like that you learn in the game, and you learn from networking and talking to people. Oh, I need to have an LLC. That's another thing. Let's go back to the LLC. So as a 1099, getting a $100,000 1099, you're going to be taxed high. But as an LLC, you can pay yourself as an employee. So though your business made 100,000, you're only taking out 500 every 2 weeks for yourself. So at the end of the year, though your business made $100,000, you got paid from WSAN radio 15,000. So the tax is not against you. It's now on the business that has a little more wiggle room.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense. Thank you for clearing that up, because I told myself, well, where everything's going, should I pay myself? I guess you're right. I need to pay myself.
Yes, yes, yes. Because then at the end of the year, you're filing 2 separate returns. One for yourself with the W-2 you received from your business, and then a separate one for just the business. Because we don't want all of that money lumped up under our name. Okay. That's where you're taxed heavily. Personally, because the business still is bringing in the assets. You can, of course, always use that for whatever benefits you need. However, for tax purposes, no, when you're bringing in a certain amount of money, you absolutely need to separate the two.
Which goes to my next question: profit and nonprofit business. If you got a 501c3 and that's not a profitable business, but your other business you have is a profitable business, can those two entities work together?
They can work together, absolutely. Because your profit business could donate to the not-for-profit.
And can a nonprofit donate to the profitable business?
Yes.
Okay. I see a little. Are you sure? I see that little look like.
No, it would depend on the situation. So you can't just it would depend. You can't just say, oh, we don't my for-profit donated $1 million to the not-for-profit to cover money. Like, so there are rules and stipulations behind it, and it would really depend. It's a case-by-case thing, but yes, you can technically, yes, both businesses can work together, donate to each other. However, there are still ramifications and rules behind it. You can't just you really can do whatever you want. Now, are they going to come after you? That's the question. Because you can do whatever your prerogative is. Am I going to sign off on your return? Probably not.
Since you brought that up, I was reading up stuff on the IRS. They target more people under $800,000 a year for audits than the ones 800,000 or more a year. Why do you think? Why is the reason why they target the middle class more?
Because the middle class normally they don't have a professional doing their taxes. So, and if you're getting paid over $800,000 a year, I'm pretty sure you have a team of accountants behind you to make sure that your numbers are together. It's an easy target to target. If you are in the middle or lower class, you guys are, not you guys are, but it is easy to target that industry, because I'm not industry, but those set of people, because typically those are the same ones who aren't filing properly, who filed 2 W-2s, but they really got 5 W-2s. How versus the $1 million upper class, high paying tax clients, they typically already, first of all, they're not filing until the end of the year. They're filing an extension, and they 99% of the time have, like I said, a slew of accountants, auditors on their team that's going to make sure that their paperwork is right. And they've been paying estimated taxes throughout the year. So there's a lot of different reasons why 800K and lower is taxed before 800K and higher.
You just said something. They pay taxes as the year go on. What's that you just said?
Estimated payments.
Estimated payment. Is that a good or bad thing for people to do?
That's a great thing for people to do. At least for sure they got your money.
So
and when you're filing, there's actually a place on the tax return that says what were your estimated payments. So, and you can see the numbers like just dwindle. It'll say like 21,000 owed. When you start to plug in the estimated payments, it goes all the way down, because I know at the end of the year I'm gonna owe. So I am saying, let me pay, because I can see the forecast already. And normally you can see that when you have accountants on your team, which goes back to your original question, why does the middle class get taxed before the upper class? Well, the upper class has been paying taxes versus the middle class. You can tell your job, I don't want to pay nothing in federal. You guys want to snatch this Medicare and Social Security, but I can put 0 for federal. Now, as an auditor, let me go look at Mary Smith, because Mary Smith ain't paid taxes all year. And how's she getting $8,000 back? Something's not right. Let me look at this tax return.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Well, yeah, why we're not going after the ones that we're taking money from. We're going after the ones that we actually gotta relinquish a check to, refund to.
Wow. So that estimated tax at the end of the year, when all said and done, if you paid over, you get a refund, or you keep that money there for let it roll over to the next following year?
You can do both. So you can get the refund, or you can elect to carry it over to the next year.
So now when you do the estimated tax, that's something that you pay monthly?
Yes. Quarterly, monthly, depends on how you have it set up with the IRS. And you can set it up on their website.
Wow. That's good information to know right there. Now,
Yeah.
let's get to the ones that's making 70, $80,000 a year for their taxes. They're married and they put everything together and they're always owing every year. They can't figure out why do they owe every year. Like you said, for instance, when you first fill out your form, when you first get a job, they have you fill out all this form and how many dependents you have and this and that. And a lot of people put 000, whatever it is. And is that wrong for them to do that? Should they say I have a total of 4 dependents? And
Go ahead.
go ahead.
No, when it comes down to that, I think that because of the way the new law is set up, like I said, it changed in 2020. You get more on your paycheck than on the return. I think that anybody getting paid over 50K a year, no dependents, even with a dependent, on that paper, yes, if you put 0, then they won't, that's some more taxes that comes out. So the less exemptions you have, the more taxes that come out. The more exemptions you have, the less that comes out your check. But there's also a section on that form where you can elect to have additional money come out your check. Let it be $100. Like, just do it.
I've seen that
At
happen.
at worst, you you are overpaying and you get your money back, but you won't owe.
Yeah, because when that tax law changed, where you got more money back and less what you call federal income tax being taken out, a lot of people turned around and say, "Oh, wait a minute, I was
Mm-hmm.
$800 now. How I owe them $300?"
Yep.
You know, because you're right, you got to add additional money they're taking out, and that was the part that they didn't tell people about.
No, no one's, and if they did though, your employer didn't tell you about it, right? But it was literally all over the news. Before it actually got passed, it was being talked about for almost 11 months. But again, the media only tells you very bits. They tell you the drama, but they don't tell you what you really need to know. And if unless you are listening to the podcast on a regular and you're taking the time to do that research, then it's just going right over your head. The right people knew. I knew. Like I knew, my family knew. Um, my friends knew because I told them. So your circle is something that you need to reevaluate as well to see who am I hanging around that's not really benefiting. Because all of the people around me, they weren't affected because, hey, y'all, I need you to, this is what they doing. This is what just got signed. I'm telling you, y'all gonna be mad next year. This is what you need to
Yeah.
do. And my one thing about it, my people follow my lead. Like if I say something that they believe me, they'll run with it. And I was right. It was, I mean, not that I was right. It was in the news. So the information was given. We just didn't, you know, care or look, or it wasn't brought to us. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was out there the same way COVID was out there. This was a big one that got passed. And I think, and if you're getting more money on your paycheck, it's almost like, if I'm getting more, then I might need to take out a little more. You know, like it's one of like nothing is free. Nobody's giving out free money. So we have to think about those things. Like at the end of the day, the only person you can get mad at is yourself.
You see, like you said, when the pandemic with those um benefits came out, oh, everybody heard about that. They didn't waste no time doing it. You know what I'm saying? Hey,
How we know about that? We know Joe ain't send this $2,000. You guys knew it was 1,400. Hold up, my check was only $15. I was supposed to get $14. Like,
yeah.
so it was one of those. You guys, we could educate on that money, but when it's time to get the money back, we all of a sudden we're not educated anymore. It doesn't. I don't know.
That's called selective hearing.
Yes, selective hearing. So it's all of those, like I said at the beginning of our interview, we're our own downfall. We can point the blame and say, oh, they're taking care of them and not us, and they're doing for these people and not our people, and but no, yes, to an extent, but a lot of stuff we have to say, all right, nobody gonna tell me this. Let me go figure it out on my own. You have to get tired. You have to stop being complacent in the situation you're in and think of somebody gonna give you something. Because I'm not handing out nothing to nobody just because.
Yeah.
Not when I know where I've come from, where my family has come from, where we started and where we are. We didn't let up, like we both, my husband and I both knew that entrepreneurship was it. So even when one area got rough, all right, we got to figure out something else. We weren't dependent on anybody to give us anything. We weren't depending or feeling like I need this. Like anything that comes in is like, okay, that's extra money. Okay, thank you for the stimulus. Oh wow, thank you so much because that actually helped me take care of some stuff. But if it didn't come, it wouldn't have stopped anything over here. It wasn't gonna make or break what my situation was. And that has to do a lot with we're both go-getters and you have to be that way. Like my family and my children depend on me. I can't be homeless. They want to go to Target. My daughter got expensive taste. She's what do you want for dinner? Kobe's. Most kids say Raising Cane's, so I'm like, okay, I gotta get my life
together. Last question. Those who retired and are getting Social Security coming in, and they're telling me they do have to file taxes, but they don't pay anything on it. What is that? Do you have to file your income tax? Because they do send you a statement of your earnings for that year. So
yes.
do you
So
need to file?
you'll file because depending on the situation. So if there are any type of if you own a home, then you're also getting a mortgage interest statement. Those things have to be filed. If you're getting any type of, so along with the retirement income, that mortgage statement income has to be put on the actual return. If you have rental property, so yes, you have to report it. Sometimes you don't owe, sometimes you do owe. It really depends. And that's not a generalized question. Everybody's situation could be very different. Yours can be totally different from the next person next to you, depending on what else you have going on. Do you have estates? Are you married? Is your wife working? So now we're putting your retirement, but we have to put your wife's W-2. That changes up some things. So what is the tax situation there? It would depend on whether you need to file that or not.
Okay, good answer. Whoa, love it, love it, love it. We're at that time now, but I want you back again. We
Yes.
we got to have you back again about taxes the closer it gets to April 15th.
Yes, absolutely.
Because we're gonna get more questions coming up. And
Absolutely.
so I said that was the last question. I lied. I got some more questions.
You know you good, Ron. Come on.
If somebody came to you business wise and they want to sit down with you, what is your, I know each business is different with charges and stuff. Well, what is your consultation like when somebody new want to come to you?
But I have different consultations. So for my tax consultations, there's no obligation and there is no number attached to that. But I also have business consultations, and that depends on the time frame. I have a calendar that has everything on there. So that goes from 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, and all of those numbers look different. But for taxes, I do not charge a consultation
Okay.
during in season. So out of season, which is after April 15th, I do charge a consultation fee, but in season I do not. I answer all questions. I'm all about transparency and keeping and being honest and providing everyone with the, even if you don't go with me, you being educated and walking away and knowing what someone else is doing is more important than retaining the client because it's gonna come. Like for one person who walks away, four more come my way. But if I know that all four of them can say, Stephanie really know what she's talking about, I'm always gonna win. Because you may not have went with me, but the person you're talking to me about, they're gonna come to me.
Yeah, which bring up we talked off camera on the phone where you seen this lady is mighty upset that she wasn't getting her 8 grand or 10 grand back because it changed. And you said she went on to H&R Block and probably got the same situation. And
She
and on top of that, if she got a rapid refund, she had to pay for that.
yep. And that's what I'm saying. Like you had me do all this work. And mind you, everybody's tax return I did before I actually do it, guys, is different this tax year. The people that I was getting, I literally any person that I've done their taxes, I can call every single one. That's how the conversation was led. I got people who I got 15 last year that this year they're getting like 4. So I want you to know what you're stepping into before I even waste an hour, sometimes more on your tax return. And she literally was like, "Ooh, ooh, I'm only getting back 4,000. Let me call you back." And the next day it was, well, I decided to go with H&R Block. I figured that they can get me the same amount and your fee, like after I did the work. So
Oh,
mm,
yeah.
it's messed up, but it's all good. That's what the game is. There's people. This is why a lot of preparers in this field they charge for quotes, they charge for consultations because rightfully so, your time is wasted when I've typed in all your information just for you to tell me, oh, you type it in yourself on H&R Block. You should have went there first. You should not have came to me
Yeah.
and given me all of your stuff. If you wanted an estimate, I could have given you that. That takes me 10 minutes. But if you want me to do your return, you got to pay me for that. But it's all good. I had a lot of those this season, but I literally just tripled what I made last season this season. So for all the ones who left, it's all right. You just can't come back. That's just it.
So if somebody came to you and just regular old Joe or Sally come to you right now and they want you to do their taxes, what is your fee on that? Is it does it structure from what or just
It does structure from one person to the next, but let's just say it's a single person, no dependents, one W-2, simple return. I would filter that to one of my agents because I don't do those anymore. And I also want them to get their training. Um, but I have some people on my team who charge as low as like 150, 125.
okay.
So it would get done. My prices are not that, but I have someone who I provide who's just like me because before their returns can be submitted, I have to go through them. I'm just not typing in all of the information. That they charge as low as, like I said, 125, and I would just filter them right to
Yeah.
someone on the team for sure.
Okay. So let everybody know how can they get a hold of you. Give us all the information if they want to go with Stephanie Williams.
Yes. So you can find me on Facebook, Stephanie Williams. You can't miss me. You see my face. I look exactly the same. It's not that much different. On Instagram, I'm Stephanie.Williams _ CEO. On LinkedIn, Stephanie Williams as well. My calendar is on all 3 of my platforms. My email is info@onlypmg.com and PMG Power Moves Group. Oh, and one more thing. Today's my husband's birthday. Happy birthday, babe. I know you're watching from where you are.
What's your husband's name?
Isaac.
Happy birthday, Isaac.
Yep. Today is his
I
birthday.
wonder if he's on my Facebook because somebody had a birthday named Isaac.
Yeah, I think he is on your Facebook.
But then,
Isaac Williams.
yeah, then I forgot. Well, normally I type in happy birthday, mention their name. So happy birthday, Isaac, from all of us at WSN Radio.
Yes, yes, yes.
So,
Thank you.
all right, Stephanie, it's enjoyable to have you on all the time. You have covered so much information in such a short period of time that
Awesome.
you educated everybody. You educated myself because some of the questions came from me and not everybody typing right here. Because these are
No.
these are questions people are asking me. You're gonna have her on, ask her this question, ask her this question. I say, why don't you get on board and watch and ask your own self?
Yeah, or even get in my inbox, schedule a consultation. Look, I do not bite. I do not mind answering questions, Ron. You know that. Like I am probably the sweetest. Like I said, I'm all about transparency and literacy. I need our people, especially everybody in the Black community, to understand tax laws, financial literacy, like business laws, the business aspect of things, W-2s, 1099s. We need to know this stuff, or we need to surround ourselves with people who know this, or you need to have a contact that I can, you know what, I'm not quite sure if I should sign up with this. Hey, Stephanie, I saw this email real quick. Is this real? Like, you need that person.
Yeah.
You absolutely do, or you're going to be out here getting scammed left and right.
Oh, there's a scam going on right now since you brought that up. Somebody on Facebook, they turn around and said they're friends with so many people. And so one time I did it twice. This one I did a research on, and her name was Gloria, and that wasn't her real name. I found that out. She said, let me know what your Cash App is. You can make $1,000 right now by giving your Cash App. So I gave her a phony Cash App, and she came back and told me, if you send me $100, I'll send you $500. Then if you send me $200, I'll send you $1,000. So I
What?
so this is what I replied back to her. I said, I tell you what, we can make this real easy. Why don't you deduct that $100 and send me the 400?
I know that's right.
And she said, well, that isn't how it works. I said, you're getting your $100 anyway, just deduct and give
Right.
me that. I haven't heard back from her since.
I know that's right. I wouldn't call you back either. Oh, he actually knows his stuff. Look, next
Yeah.
next victim.
And then I have one that sent me a $8,000 check. Told me deposit check, keep $750 for yourself, but I want you to go out and spend $1,000 at or was it $2,000 at each one of the Walmart stores and buy gift cards and let them know the number of the gift cards. But you keep $750 for yourself.
What in the scamming is going on out
So
here?
they sent it to me. So I turned around and called the bank out of Kentucky. And the bank in Kentucky said, that's a scam. Don't do it.
Wow.
I pretty well knew it was.
They
So when that person called me and said, I haven't got your information for Walmart yet, I said, you're not going to get it. I said, because this is a scam. The bank in Kentucky, as soon as I said that, they hung up on me.
they already knew.
Yeah.
Wow.
So people,
That's terrible.
like you said, there's no free money, especially like this, because
No.
they get in your account and they'll take everything.
Yep. 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 And even in the airport, there's this new thing that I heard. Like if somebody bumps you, like there's a way that the phones is pulling all the information. Like they're literally like walking around the airport with this reader, and it's pulling all the information on your cell phone.
Yeah.
So like to have your phone off when you're inside the airport, it's a lot.
Isn't it crazy? We got smart phones and smart people taking things from the smartphone.
Ron, I just told Isaac we need to get a flip phone. I don't even want the phones anymore. He's like, you might be on to something. I'm like, no, for real. They could have their phone. The fact that I can't live knowing someone can wipe out all of my money. Like, can you imagine? And now you're fighting with the bank for your money. Like, you have to get police reports. The bills are still coming. They're not trying to hear, oh, I got robbed. They took all my money. They're like, ma'am, you still owe this. So,
But no, true story. Here I go, true story. Somebody gonna say something. I always say that. This one person turned around and it was Broward County, Florida. They
Oh, that's where I'm from.
they took $247 off their account. But guess what the idiot did? He used
What?
that money to pay child support. Hack somebody's account to pay child support. So now he's in trouble for that and child support. So,
Oh my gosh. Oh, and you try to put a fraudulent card in a government agency system. You're
yeah,
brave. But you know what? That's literally my city. You know, there's a lot. Florida, specifically South Florida, where we're from, there's a lot of scammers. There's a lot of fraud.
yeah,
Like for real.
yeah, I understand. All right, young lady. See, I said about 10 minutes ago, that's it, but
I
we
know, but you
oh.
know, we family at this point, Ron.
And I still got to talk to you about what we talked about the last time we had a Zoom with everybody on. Uh,
Yes.
so we'll touch base with that again. But other than that, you keep on doing what you're doing, and we will get a hold of you the closer it gets to tax time. Probably the first week of April, we'll ring your chimes again and see what's going on, to see if you had any crazy and deranged people coming at you saying, where my money at?
No, my phone is literally like going, you can't see it, but I have 13 new notifications.
See,
So
see, you stay
and
busy.
that's another thing. When your preparer submits your return, they submit your return. There's no one who does your taxes works for the IRS. And the people who work for the IRS don't even really know what's in the system. I worked for the IRS because so I know there's really not much there you can go off of when something is wrong.
Yeah.
When you're at the agent level. When you get higher up, yes, but at the initial, that first person, hi, Internal Revenue Service, this is Stephanie speaking. No. Call in 21 days because there's nothing on my screen to look at. Like you don't have access to those certain things. Neither does a tax preparer. So be patient. Be
Yeah,
patient. Like you waited all year for this, so another month is not gonna hurt you. So be
exactly.
patient. Be patient with yourself. Be patient with your preparer. They're trying to help you. If you don't get paid, your preparer doesn't get paid. So why wouldn't they do it properly?
Amen to that. All right.
Okay.
All
So
right,
you have a
Stephanie. You too, and you just stay what you're doing. And are you gonna cook your husband a nice dinner tonight?
I'm actually gonna surprise him. So we're supposed to, it's either dinner or stay in and do dinner. So he doesn't know that part yet. He has to tell me what he wants to do.
Oh, well, I'm gonna leave that one alone because I know he's listening.
Yes, 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 yes. He's definitely listening. He walked in here and I could hear it on his cell phone. So yeah, he's
Yeah.
listening in.
Okay. Well, you take care, and great having you on, and we'll talk later
Always.
on. Okay.
Tell Sandy I said hello.
I sure will.
All right,
Bye
bye.
bye.